Hey everyone, welcome to this weekly Sidereal Astrology forecast for the week of September 30th through October 6th of 2024. All right, so this week is a solar eclipse week. We have a solar eclipse on Wednesday. And so as we do approach Wednesday, we are ending the current lunar month, which is really good for completion, creating some space, and really starting to listen to what new insights, new seeds are being planted for this brand new solar eclipse month. So that's going to be on Wednesday. It's going to be in Virgo, the maiden. So it's all about cultivating a healthier quality of improvement, of refinement, of focusing on what we do have control over in our lives. And of course, hopefully what we learned during the lunar eclipse 2 weeks ago, we can also apply a bit of that Pisces energy, a bit of this letting go of control, having a little bit more peace and receptivity in our life as well. So solar eclipse will be squaring up to Mars, maybe some things to integrate with that proactive, assertive and strong needs side of ourselves. So that's really the concentration of the week's energy there. As we go through the later part of the week, we will slowly build some new momentum in this new beginning of these kinds of energies. Venus will be going into Libra just after that on Thursday, so a shift of values. Things probably getting a little bit easier with our enjoyments and relationships in life, being that she was in Virgo. A little more difficult to work with. And then the weekends here with Venus trining Saturn, maybe a little bit of groundedness in those relationships and enjoyments of life. And then Mercury squaring Mars as part of that solar eclipse, maybe again some things to integrate with that proactive and assertive side. All right, so let's go and take a look at all of this here in more detail when we return. Alrighty, so here's the sky for this week. We're going to look at this for each day of the week, starting first with Monday, September 30th. And as you can see here, we are using the visible sky on this channel. This is very different from mainstream astrology, which unfortunately does not use the visible sky. And so the signs are different. You maybe have heard that the solar eclipse is in Libra, and I'm saying that it's in Virgo. So if you are new to all this, definitely check out that link down below for more information. But essentially, we are using the actual locations of the planets. In other words, the solar eclipse is actually happening in the constellation of Virgo, which is what we call true sidereal astrology. All right, so coming into this week, the ending of the current lunar month, we've got the moon approaching the sun in the balsamic phase of the lunar cycle. So as we approach Wednesday, really good for clearing, doing a bit of a reset, letting the energies die down a little bit. It's very much like the winter phase of the month, if you will. And this helps us create space for the new seeds that we'll be planting with the solar eclipse. Now, not everything in life is free will, not everything in life is predetermined. So the solar eclipse, just like any other new moon, is usually a little bit of both. A little bit of life, predetermining some things, life coming in to guide us in terms of what are some new things life wants us to cultivate, what are some literal new beginnings, new things that can be coming into our life. And then on a free will side, what are the new intentions that we want to set for this month? And it is, of course, particularly important, being that it's a solar eclipse. So it is a total solar eclipse. It's involving the south node. Again, this is concentrated around Wednesday. And the south node is very much about clearing and releasing energy. It very much represents the past life kind of stuff, if you believe in that, or where our soul's coming from, the sort of soul roots, if you will. And the Hindus believe that this is where we've built a lot of karma from past lives, which are now getting resolved, which are now getting cleared anytime the south node is activated. And of course, every time we have an eclipse, it's either involving the north node or the south node. And in this case, it is the south node, the past life, karmic energy that is being cleared and released. So we'll talk more about this in a minute, but let's go ahead and break this down for each day of the week, starting first with Monday. Coming into the week, we still have the Sun, Mercury, and Venus all in Virgo. So again, the theme is around improvement. And let me say healthy qualities of Virgo. Now that the South Node is being activated here, there is this karmic past life, let's say, energy around unhealthy Virgo qualities that we might all have in our own ways. This can be things like over-improvement, maybe perfectionism, maybe getting too much into the details, maybe working too much or working too hard. Getting into that really systematic and yes, improvement-oriented energy, but perhaps in some unhealthy or unbalanced ways. So again, the eclipse will help us become aware of these so that we can release the unhealthy, or let's say even embrace the unhealthy, because of course anything that we just simply push away will continue to persist in our unconscious. We want to see that these qualities of ourself are part of ourselves. And as we embrace these qualities, then we start to have more of the healthy expressions of it. So the eclipse will, of course, help us do that. But here, yes, coming into the week, still a lot of themes around Virgo with the Sun, Mercury, and Venus here. Now, Venus will be finishing Virgo this week, starting to get closer to Libra, where she's much more comfortable, around Thursday, which we'll talk a little bit more about. And Mars is right in the middle of Gemini, really at the peak, let's say, of that Gemini energy, which is about curiosity, interest, exchanging with others, learning, very practical energy. And so Mars is very much about asserting ourselves in this way right now, taking action in this way right now, right? Getting into some of that fire when it comes to that learning and communication kind of energy. So that's the backdrop. That's the main themes, let's say, coming into this week. Now on Monday, we'll likely feel quite grounded because late Sunday and early Monday for most of us, we have Mars trining Saturn. And this is something we probably felt on Sunday. Just a little bit of a willingness to see the long road with things, a bit of a willingness to be patient with matters, and perseverance a little bit. Along with this, we will have the halfway point of the Mercury direct, let's say. The Mercury will be passing over the Sun. This is usually a time where maybe things aren't as clear mentally, or maybe with those correspondences or communications, because this is considered combust. Mercury is combust, meaning Mercury is not visible. The Sun is drowning out that Mercury energy, those parts of ourselves. So this can be seen as Mercury going into the underworld to go and collect insights from our deeper unconscious. And so it kind of blocks, let's say, the more conscious elements of Mercury. So Monday, good to bring extra conscious awareness to our thoughts, to mindfulness, to our communications, right? And this can help us then integrate some of that unconscious energy and balance some of this energy out. It can also mean a new beginning in many ways in regards to some of these things, right? And so maybe things taking a step in the right direction, let's say with maybe some of that day-to-day energy, maybe with some new insights in terms of how we're thinking about things, which are likely already coming in quite strongly because of the eclipse. And maybe some new beginnings with some of those correspondences or communications that have been in play for the past, weeks, months, at least since Mercury was direct. So this is the Monday time period here. The moon will be in Leo. And so again, wrapping up the previous lunar cycle, anything around self-expression that we learned or cultivated the past month, anything around what's close to our heart, who and what we love in life, maybe just expressing ourselves a little bit, we can be wrapping up some themes around that. Tuesday, the moon will then shift into Virgo, again, gearing up for that solar eclipse, and we'll definitely start to be feeling that energy probably as early as, when you're watching this for the eclipse. Really, we tend to feel the energy a few days before and a few days after, but definitely by Tuesday with the moon in Virgo, we'll definitely be in that eclipse field. So the eclipse will be at 14:44 Eastern time of the Americas, so midday for the Americas, depending on where you are in the world. But again, I would give this at least the day before and the day after in terms of it really being the strongest energy here. So the solar eclipse will, of course, be conjunct Mercury already being close to the sun during the eclipse. And so this is actually quite common to have Mercury as part of new moons or full moons. He's always close to the sun. And so here it's the more, again, new beginnings with what we just said, maybe starting to, that have started to unfold probably around Monday, as we said, but really starting to get activated around the eclipse as well. So new beginnings with how we're thinking about things, our willingness to learn, our willingness to be curious, again, in the context of maybe the details, figuring things out, our work and service. And then, of course, in those communications too. So it's really good to set these intentions from our free will side of things. Maybe set intentions with learning this month, set intentions with communications this month. This would all be very good. And again, maybe some unhealthy qualities being released with some of this that we can be more mindful of in order to allow those new beginnings and new energies to come in. Now, the solar eclipse, most importantly, outside of the fact that it's a south node eclipse, most importantly is that it is squaring up to Mars. So this is the major aspect with it. Now, squares are considered generally challenging, but it's all about challenging ourselves, really. It's really during squares where we really integrate the most in life, we build the most in life, we learn the most in life. It's really when things are really catalyzed. And so again, with Mars in Gemini, it's really good here to integrate fundamentally that proactive and assertive side of ourselves, again, in healthy ways. Squares do tend to go to over and under extremes with the planetary energy. In this case, an over extreme of Mars might be too much proactivity, too much assertiveness, too strong of needs. We might even see this collectively or in others. But then when the pendulum swings too far in one direction, it then will swing the other. And then that could also mean not enough of that fiery energy, or that fiery energy coming through in more covert or sort of unconscious sort of ways. So maybe passive aggressiveness, maybe not communicating our needs, maybe feeling like we will be not attached, but really underneath we're really wanting something. So this integrating of the healthy qualities of Mars, the healthy balanced qualities, which is being clear as we can, and at least being open to being clear on who we are and what we want, and constructively expressing this and constructively acting on this, right? And it all, again, comes down to mindfulness. It all comes down to awareness. So these healthy qualities is really what we're integrating here, and it can be an extremely constructive times for that fiery side of ourselves, for that proactive side, for that independent side, for that side that has these needs. And so any intentions, again, around this, but probably noticing that this whole lunar month in many ways is about incorporating these healthy qualities of assertiveness, of proactivity, of independence, of communicating one's needs in Gemini, of being direct with communication, but at the same time being willing to learn, being willing to exchange with others, right? Being curious. These are all things that both the Mercury and the fact that Mars is in Gemini can really help us cultivate. All right, so that's the solar eclipse. I'll talk more about that in the live stream here in just a couple hours. Let's go ahead and move on here to Venus entering Libra, which will be around the Thursday time period. So Venus going into her home sign of Libra, where she likes to be, coming out of a much more challenging time where she's been for a little over the past month, which is more of the improvement stuff that Venus doesn't really like. Venus is about our values. She's about our relationships. And it's been more in the realm of improvement and refinement there. But now in Libra, much more comfortably, it's about enjoying more of the balance of life, and likely some themes in those relationships around balance, meaning themes probably around fairness, reciprocity, give and take, mutuality, coming to middle ground, things of this nature. But again, personally as well, finding balance in our own life, enjoying balance in our own life, enjoying peace a little bit, bringing things into even keel. And so that's great. We'll likely start to notice that shift towards the later part of the week. And this will, of course, help us further and integrate the solar eclipse energy as well. Venus will then trine up to Saturn on Friday, giving us a bit of groundedness with those things, grounded values, probably grounded enjoyments, probably grounded relationships. We tend to have a little bit more responsibility with enjoyments and relationships during trines to Saturn like this. A little bit more of that long-term view that we had earlier in the week with Mars, but now with Venus. Right, so Saturn, the planet of the long term, the patient, the disciplined, in good harmony this week, and specifically with Venus, the planet of our values and relationships, around Friday. As we go into the weekend, the moon will still be in Virgo. We're just slowly building new momentum in this solar eclipse cycle, lunar cycle. And then as we do get into Sunday, the moon will shift into Libra, placing more themes around balance and in those interpersonal relationships. And Mercury will then square Mars exact, followed by the Sun will square Mars exact next week. So really everything we said about that solar eclipse being square Mars, integrating the fire, integrating the proactive, the initiative in healthy ways, will be activated in this lunar month. So it starts with Mercury and then will be the Sun. Okay, so that's just a good weekend here, particularly Sunday, for integrating some of that. And here I would say maybe specifically with those communications or day-to-day sort of activities. All right, everyone, so that is the week in a nutshell. Of course, most importantly is the solar eclipse, all concentrated here around the Wednesday time period in the constellation of Virgo, the Maiden, which is all about cultivating new, healthier qualities of improvement and refinement. Mindfulness is really the name of the game with these, being willing to release and clear things. There can also be gifts, of course, and new beginnings, because as we clear, there's space for new beginnings to come in, for life to provide for us. The South Node is also seen as our past life gifts. And we have this negative connotation of karma. And karma doesn't, of course, mean just bad. There's good karma. There's things we've done in the past where we consider it good now because it brings something that we welcome in our life now at this time. But it will, of course, require that creating of space for these new beginnings to come in. And I would say that's really the fundamental of this week, of Wednesday in particular. Ending things as we approach that, creating space as we approach that, and then slowly building a little bit of momentum after Wednesday as we get a little bit of that building of energy of the lunar month. We've got some support with Saturn this week, a little bit of groundedness for that long-term view, patience, discipline, things like this. We're getting insights with Mercury over the Sun on Monday. Again, good to balance it though. It can be a bit of that combustion, mindfulness again with our thoughts, with our communications, but nonetheless things likely coming in, new perspectives and perhaps insights about really what we enjoy in life and what we love in life in many ways with the Sun. But that's part of this. And then of course integrating that communication into mindful thoughts with the assertive side, particularly around the eclipse but also around the weekend. Healthy communications, being maybe expressive of our needs, but again with mindfulness and constructiveness. All right, and that's integrating some of that fire with Mars. All right, so it's actually quite a straightforward week, all really centered around this eclipse, and really setting the stage for this new lunar cycle. All right, so everyone have a fantastic week. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to click the like button if you're watching this on YouTube, and do stay tuned for the live stream where we're going to get into all of this in more detail, answer a lot of your questions, and hang out with the community. So hope to see you there, and have a great week, everyone. Take care. Bye-bye.